A great discussion there. Thank you to all of our panelists. Well, now joining me in the studio, I have Alexander Dreyfus, CEO of Chiliz and Socios.com. Great to have you here live in the studio. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Very welcome. And now things are picking up back in Malta. We can have a little bit of an interaction, which is amazing. And 2020 has been such a busy year for you guys and Socios and Chiliz as well. I would love for you just first of all to give our viewers a little bit of context. What is the relationship between Chiliz and Socios?
Sure. So as you know, we are based in Malta. I mean, all of us, but the company is based in Malta. We are like 65 employees now. And what we do is we are tokenizing some of the biggest sports teams in the world, like FC Barcelona, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, and many other teams. And Chiliz is the name of the token, is the name of almost the platform and the technology. So it's the Chiliz chain. So people can go on Chiliz.com and see both the blockchain and all the blocks and all the boring stuff. But the most important part is the Socios.com, which is the consumer-facing product, which is a mobile app right now that you can download, and that app allows you to buy Barcelona, Juventus, PSG, AS Roma, Galatasaray, and like 10 tokens or fan tokens of some of the biggest teams. And you, as the owner of these tokens, you can vote on decision of the club. So that's what we are doing. We are creating a link between clubs and their fans globally.
And something that I think is amazing about this technology is that, for example, my family, I have a family full of football fans, but they don't understand anything I do when it comes to the blockchain or tech space. It's a great introduction to people to understand about blockchain. So maybe for our viewers, you can give a little bit of a breakdown where the blockchain side of things comes into this.
So the blockchain component of what we do, actually I should start the other way around. Usually when we introduce Chiliz and Socios, we always start by saying that we are not a protocol, we are not a layer, we don't want to disrupt the finance industry, we don't want to change the world. We have a very simple mission, which is to make fans closer to their clubs and for the clubs to engage and monetize their fan base. Now what does it mean? It means for your family as a fans, they can buy a Barcelona token. The sale starts very soon, so get ready. And they can buy this fan token. They can have it in their wallet in the Socios.com app. And the blockchain component is the fact that I'm telling you that you can vote on decision of the club. And all the voting is on the blockchain. But what does it mean? It means that unlike X Factor or The Voice, when you vote with your SMS to decide who's going to be eliminated, you never know if it's true, if it's rigged or not. In that case, sports club are actually asking their fans, hey, we have a question, which music do you want to have in the stadium every time we score a goal? But the whole process of the voting is on the blockchain and is available for the fans or for the crypto geek. So there is transparency, there is integrity, and that's actually the foundation of what we do. And that's translate just after on the fact that you own this digital asset, which for you means nothing, but it educates you a little bit on the fact that, this is crypto, okay, I don't understand anything about Bitcoin and Ethereum and definitely not Ripple, but I understand a little bit that I own a fan token of Juventus. It goes up and down, it's there, and that's a little bit of a beginning on how we believe we can educate mainstream.
And I think because it's recorded on the blockchain as well, especially when we are in such a global world where people might be a fan of a particular team, but they might be based in Japan one day and then they might be moving to the US next. The fact that it is recorded on the blockchain gives them a little bit more of a sense of kind of security as well. So I let our viewers know that you were coming into the studio, and we have a question there, which is the link between esports and cryptocurrency usage. We had one person ask us that, and I would love to get your take on if there is a link between the two and what that link could be.
Yeah, of course. Just before you were talking about the fact that it's global and it gives you more legitimacy, the fact that I'm in Japan, and it gives more confidence. What's interesting is that 99.9% of sports fans are not in the stadium or even in the country of the team that they are supporting. So you can be based in Malta and being a fan of Barcelona and Juventus, and yet you're not in that country, or in Spain or in Italy. And the beauty of what we do globally is indeed to give this legitimate digital assets that are the fan tokens. And to give you an idea, we just finished the sales of Galatasaray token, so Turkish one, and 56% of the people who bought the Galatasaray token were not in Turkey. And the Paris Saint-Germain token that we sold, 80% of the people were not in France. So it's really helping clubs to actually reach their global audience, generating revenue. Back to esports. By definition, esports, actually there is two things. There is gamers and esports fans. But let's say gamers are by definition more educated about virtual currency. Most of the games have a virtual currency, not in a crypto sense, but virtual as virtual or digital. And even in Candy Crush, you have your virtual currency, or in Fortnite. So that audience is more educated to understand this concept of virtual currency. Now, if you adapt that into crypto, and we can see that ourselves because we work with some esports team, there is an easier translation and conversion between gamers and esports fans into the crypto element. But the big difference also, and that people need to sometimes acknowledge, is the hardcore esports fans are not big spender, and they are much less big spender than traditional sports in our case, or even traditional crypto enthusiasts. So esports is a great way to go a little bit more mainstream, but there is a lot of hype, and it hasn't been yet. And I've seen, and you probably have seen, thousands of esports / blockchain projects the last 2.5 years, and yet there is not a single one that really exploded in a positive way.
And I think what's really interesting as well, based on what you've said, is you've got the kind of the esports users that are probably more used to like tokenization and kind of spending online and more digital, but then you've got the traditional fan base, as you said, where there really are diehard fans that are willing to put some money in as well. So we actually had an interview online via Skype just before the whole COVID situation had picked up, and it had already been such a busy year for you and your organizations. How has 2020 been? What have been some of the big achievements from your perspective?
So actually, COVID-19 was an opportunity for us. I should not say that too often because it's a bit weird, but it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for two reasons. One, it bought us time in a way that the product that we have today is much better than the product that we had 3 months ago. And because we start to market and everything, it makes more sense for us to have this kind of 3 months stalling that happened. That's number one. Number two, football clubs, teams, cricket teams, basketball teams, any IP who owns, or actually who have fans in the world, now are challenged by two things. One, their sponsoring revenue are being decimated because sponsors cannot afford anymore what they used to with the recession that started and will come in the next few months. And what we call match day revenue, so ticketing, is more or less zero right now for the last 3 months, and it's going to be zero for the next 6 months at least. So these teams are looking more actively in a way to monetize their B2C fan base. And this 1% of fans that used to be in the stadium and used to generate a significant amount of money now is generating zero. So the clubs are really starting to look at the 99.9%, which are now 100% actually, outside of the stadium. So it is an opportunity for us, and that got translated in the fact that in May, we launched most of our tokens sale. We call that fan token offering, and it generated $530,000 of revenue, which was a first, and of course very positive. We listed Juventus token, we listed Galatasaray token 3 days ago, last Friday, and very successful, did like multiple by 3 in less than 2 hours. So it will go down, it will go up, doesn't matter, but it's interesting nevertheless. And the big things we are launching now is the Barcelona token, which will be by the end of June. We haven't announced yet the date, and that's going to be a massive, not opportunity, but it's going to be a massive milestone for us. Eventually, the big things that are happening in the next 2-3 months, we are launching our debit card, Socios debit card, which will allow your family to spend their fiat money, even though they are a football fan of one team, and the more they spend, the more they will be rewarded with the team that they are supporting. And they will also be rewarded in crypto. So even though they don't have Bitcoin, they don't understand Bitcoin, they will get Chiliz or fan tokens the more they spend GPB or Euro, whatever. And there is a lot of other things like that we are doing. And since we spoke, and I will end on that, we also announced a UFC, which was a massive brand for us to work with.
It sounds like it's been such a busy year, and I'm really excited to catch up. We do have one comment as well in the comment box. It seems like all of our football fans are suddenly tuning in. So we did have Richard that referenced out and said, what teams do you list at the moment? You mentioned some in the conversation today, but can you give our viewers some of the teams that Socios is working with at the moment?
Sure. I mean, right now it's Barcelona, Juventus, AS Roma, PSG, Atletico Madrid, Galatasaray, Independiente in Argentina, and there is more teams. I hope I haven't forgotten West Ham in UK, and then we have many more teams that we haven't announced yet that are either in any other country in the world. So we don't want to disclose or to tease too much, but we are talking to more than 50 teams right now in the world. Our goal is to have actually 50 IPs by the end of the year on the platform. That includes soccer team or football team, cricket, very big for us, esports, we have already one that is announced, but we have more to be announced. And we're gonna have massive entertainment/music artist that's going to join the platform as well.
Wow, it sounds very exciting. You'll have to let me know when you launch Cardiff City as well. Give me
Fair
a
enough.
call. Thank you so much for coming in and
Thank you.
sharing some really exciting developments. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank
Thanks.
you. Well, that's all for our Sports and Challenge segment. It was great to have Alexander here in the studio. That's all for this session, sponsored by Digitane. Stay tuned for our next set of discussions.